When we think of medieval warfare, we imagine armored knights, towering castles, and epic battles. But hidden beneath the legends and heroism is a darker truth. Many of those who marched to war were not grown men, they were children. Medieval Europe, the Middle East, and Asia were shaped by almost constant conflict. Feudal systems demanded loyalty, kings demanded armies, and armies demanded numbers. In a world where life expectancy was short and adulthood began early, boys as young as 12, sometimes even younger, were drawn into war. Not all child soldiers were thrown into battle immediately. In medieval Europe, noble boys began training around the age of 7 as pages, serving in noble households. They learned manners, discipline, and basic skills of service. By their early teens, they became squires, training under knights. They learned combat, horsemanship, weapon handling, and the harsh realities of warfare. In theory, they were apprentices. In reality, many squires followed their knights directly into combat, and some died before ever becoming knights themselves. For peasant families, the situation was even harsher. During large-scale conflicts such as the 100 Years' War, entire villages were mobilized. Teenage boys were often conscripted as archers, infantry, or camp assistants. In desperate times, age mattered less than strength. If a boy could draw a bow or carry a spear, he could fight. Poverty, duty, and survival pushed many young teenagers into violent struggles they barely understood. The use of child soldiers was not limited to Europe. In the Ottoman Empire, boys were taken through the Devshirme system and trained as elite soldiers known as Janissaries. Though they became highly disciplined and powerful warriors, many were separated from their families at a young age. In parts of the Islamic world, the Mamluks were often recruited young and trained intensively for military service. Across different regions and cultures, childhood was frequently shaped by military expectation and preparation for war. During the Crusades, young boys joined religious armies, driven by faith, family loyalty, adventure, or coercion. Some historical accounts even describe what became known as the Children's Crusade, though historians continue to debate how literal those events were. What remains clear is that youth and warfare were deeply intertwined in medieval society. Why did this happen? The answer lies in how medieval people understood childhood. The concept of childhood as a protected stage of life, separate from adult responsibility, did not truly exist in the same way it does today. By the age of 12 or 13, many were considered capable of work, marriage, and military duty. In a world defined by survival, strength and usefulness mattered more than age. War was constant, resources were limited, and loyalty to lord or ruler was expected. Families depended on service and protection. Societies were structured around obligation. In such a world, sending a young teenager to war was not always seen as extraordinary. It was often seen as necessary. Today, the use of child soldiers is internationally condemned and recognized as a grave violation of human rights. Modern laws and global agreements seek to protect children from the horrors of armed conflict. Looking back at the medieval world does not mean justifying its practices. Instead, it helps us understand how different values and harsh realities shaped human behavior in the past. The image of the medieval warrior is often romanticized in stories and films. Gleaming armor, heroic charges, and noble quests dominate our imagination. Yet behind some of those helmets were young faces, boys who had barely left childhood. Understanding this hidden history reminds us how far humanity has come and how fragile childhood once was. The next time you watch a medieval epic or read about legendary battles, remember that not all warriors were grown men. Some were children, shaped by a world where war began long before adulthood.